everyone, how are you doing? So this is the fourth session sponsored by Viveka Service Society under Nirman, a capacity building institution. So today in this session under the communication skills, we are going to learn about what is email writing. So we are going to cover basically 4 basic concepts. One is basics of email writing, the second is basics of corporate email writing, the third is what is the structure of an email, and I am going to give you a few samples about how is email writing done and what are the emails and how do you use in different scenarios. I will very specifically cover 2 samples. One is a student writing to a consultant to review his resume, and second is about a corporate email where there is an order that is being not delivered and therefore how do you deal with this scenario. These are the 2 things we are going to cover in the samples. So first let us look at the basics. So before we go to basics, I want to give you one understanding about what do you understand by inductive writing and what do you understand by deductive writing. So when you are writing any element, not just emails, but writing itself has inductive and deductive writing. So I will give you examples of what these 2 mean. So when we speak about inductive writing, so let's say when you are looking at an email, so you have something like devastating impact of school closures. So due to pandemic, when there is a school closure, how is the impact currently that is happening? And secondly, you might have something like India needs a national vision, and then you might have something like cryptocurrencies are being banned in India. So this is like, first there is a very brief summary about what the notes that you are going to read following about. So what is the following summary is about, you get an induction about all of that, and then you go to the news field, and when you come to the news field, then you understand the finer points of what they are going to include in it. Let's say the statistics. So suppose due to the pandemic, if the schools had been closed down, so what are the effects? How many students went out of education and how many students were affected by it? How many teachers were affected by it? How the education as a business was affected by it? And what is the long-term impact that this has on the schooling career or education career of the students? Now you will have in the third paragraph the effects, the long-term effects, the short-term effects, and what are the consequences of this happening and what would happen to students. So this will be covered in the third section. This is what we call as inductive writing. So when you are writing in corporate scenarios, when you are writing an email, so you follow inductive writing in most of the formal scenarios. Newspaper is a formal scenario. You are not talking to your friend over a newspaper. You normally talk to someone which is a larger public, and therefore this is how the inductive writing is done. When you speak about deductive writing, what do you understand by deductive writing? Deductive writing is a diary, or suppose if you write your diary every day, you write about how was your day, what have you done, when have you woken up, if you have gone to school, what subject have you studied, if you are a college student, if you have gone to college, what happened in the college, what subjects did you study in the college, or say have you gone to canteen with your friends. These are the elements that are there in the diary, and in the end, in the conclusion of the day, you would write, how was your day? I was so happy today, this day was very satisfactory for me. Or maybe you could write, this day is very unsatisfactory for me, I did not enjoy it so much. So this is a deductive writing. After you give all the points, then you come to a conclusion about telling, this is a deduction about what all happened to me, what all happened with me today. So these are 2 types of inductive and deductive writing. Deductive writing is called as bottom-up approach, and when you are writing inductive writing, it is called as top-down approach. Normally, in all formal scenarios, you follow the top-down approach, which means you make sure that whatever the formal scenario it is there, you first give the summary of what is happening. Everyone, the manager you are sending, or in a corporate scenario, in a business scenario, it is a fast-paced world. People would want to know in a broad summary what is happening, and if that interests them, if the headline interests them, if the subject line of an email interests them, that is when they would get to introduction and then to body and then to conclusion. So therefore we call it as top-down approach. Now, as you have understood the basics of what is inductive and deductive writing, now we will go to the email writing itself. So I am going to cover first the basics of email writing, second the basics of corporate email writing, third the structure of an email, and fourth the samples. So firstly, when we speak about basics, basics include the name, basics include what is to, what is CC section, what is BCC section, and also about how do you address the subject line. So first, when you are speaking about basics, the basics of email first is your name. Please please do not have names like I love my dog or pinky.xyz or sexy boy. Please do not have email names like this, despite the fact that you could be a very good email writer, but the whole essence of your email will not be taken seriously just because your name was not put formally in the particular format. Make sure if my name is Vidyadharini, so my email would always be Vidyadharini 1994. If my surname is something, Vidyadharini M 1994 at gmail.com is my email. Make sure that you write something with your name where people will take you seriously. When someone sees, they would understand, okay, this is the person's name. Your name should be reflected in the name of your email. So it is your identity. So don't misappropriate your identity and write it as something else. Secondly, so you see sections like 2, CC, BCC. Have you ever used BCC or CC sections when you were a student? Normally these are used in the corporate scenarios, but just in case. So 2 is just, you understand what 2 means. When you send an email to someone, one particular person, you include their email there, and therefore it is a 2 section. And CC means carbon copy. Carbon copy is when you want to send a copy to someone, when you want to send copy of your email to someone, that's when you put their email in the CC section. Then BCC. BCC is called as blind carbon copy. Blind carbon copy just means that if suppose you do not want the person in the 2 and you do not want the person in the CC to be knowing whom you are sending the email to, that person's email should go into BCC. So let's imagine a corporate scenario. So if you want to send email to a particular person, so the person's email that you include in 2 is a person you are expecting a response from. You are expecting a reply from the particular person whose email you are including in the section 2. So if suppose you are writing to your teacher or your manager, so your teacher should be responding to you. If your expectation of your teacher to be responding to you, that's when you include his or her email in the 2 section. Or if your manager is supposed to give you response about a particular topic, that's when you include their mail ID in the 2 section. What is CC section? CC section is when you want to send a carbon copy to someone. So suppose your colleague needs to know about the conversation that is happening between, so your partner who is working with you in the same project, in the same team, needs to know about the conversation that's going on between manager and you. That's when you include that person in CC, and your manager will also get to know that this person had been CC'd to this email. But if suppose it is not necessary that your manager needs to know, that's when you send a blind carbon copy. So include your partner's name in the blind carbon copy, and therefore the person who is in the CC or the 2 might not know that whom you are sending this copy to. It could be your partner, it could be someone you need a help from, but it is not necessary that these 2 people need to know that whom you are sending a BCC to. Therefore, these are the 3 sections you use. And it is not necessary that a person who is in the carbon copy have to respond to you. So the section of people from whom you are not expecting a response, those email IDs would go into CC. Yeah, clear? So now what we look at is the subject line. Very, very important. The first thing that is reflected as you write a mail to your manager, to your teacher, to your lecturer, to someone who is an outside consultant, external consultant, so to anyone, to a company, first response is after your name. The first thing that the person is going to look at is the subject line, and the subject line should be crisp and clear, that you should not write a 10 sentence subject line. It should be 1 sentence, maximum 10 words. That's all is a subject, should a subject line be there about. I have told you about inductive writing, right? In inductive writing, first the headline of the news. So the headline of the news is what will be your subject line in an email. So that's what the subject line will include when you speak about an email, irrespective of whom you are sending it to. So now we are going to discuss about corporate email writing. So when you speak about corporate email writing, I am going to cover 2 sections. One is the first greetings or the salutation section. The second is about types of emails that you have to deal with in corporate scenarios. So when you speak about greetings or salutations, please do not write, hey, how are you? Hi, how are you, teacher? Because these are not the scenarios where you address someone so informally. So if you are writing to your teacher, if you are writing to your professor, if you are writing to a person who is an external consultant to your college, or if you are writing to someone who is a higher up, your manager or your subordinate, you have to make sure that you write a formal name. If you say, my formal name is Dharini, I am called as Dharini, therefore anyone would write me, hello Dharini, how are you doing? hope everything is well with you, and therefore the body continues from there. But their dear is normally accepted, dear John, dear Walt, it is accepted in scenarios like American scenarios or European, probably in the vast part of European, but not in places like Asian places, Singapore, or if you speak about Hong Kong, if you speak about Chinese, if you're writing to people who are outside that scenario, so there is a cultural barrier. Even in India, there's a cultural barrier. You do not write dear someone whom you address very formally, because people might not take it in right sense. So you normally write hello someone, and then please do avoid writing hey or hi or dear. So stick to hello and start your email as a greeting or salutation from there. And second thing that you write about, and the second thing that I forgot to mention is, please do not write any email starting with whomsoever. It sounds so impersonal that the mail it might go to whomsoever, but please do write hello lecturer, hello teacher, hello consultant, hello recruiter. Please do address people by at least designation if you are not aware of the name, but please do not write email telling whomsoever it may concern, because it sounds very impersonal, and the person who is reading the email, if someone writes an email to me writing whomsoever, I might not be very interested in looking at the email, because it doesn't look like it is addressed to me personally. It sounds very impersonal when you write such kind of emails. So that is about greetings and salutations. Now if you look at the types of emails that we write, there are three kinds of emails in the corporate scenario. One is about normally summary emails, second is about follow-up emails, and third is about request emails. So this need not be completely in corporate scenario, it could be in the college scenario, it could be when you are even in your student life also. You might write an email to someone requesting something, you might write an email to your lecturer following up on the project that you are currently doing. You might also have to if you're part of a club, I used to be part of my lit club, which is English literature club. So we used to write minutes of the meeting emails, which are also called as summary emails. So if you shift the same emails in a corporate scenario, just a little formal language, and that's all that changes in these two scenarios. But normally the emails exist in the same sector. So that when you have to look at the summary emails, the first thing you have to remember is you write an email telling dear team, and then it goes on telling that as per the conversation we have had, or as per the discussion we have had earlier. So this is the summary that we have come to. So these are points that we have discussed. So you write 1, 2, 3, 4 points, and then in the conclusion, as per the conclusion, this particular responsibility has been allocated to this person and this particular responsibility to another person. So that's how the summary email goes. And you can CC anyone or BCC anyone that needs to know about this summary. It is important that all your team members normally have to know, so you can BCC them or you can CC all of them, and can write a particular email to your manager whom you are reporting the minutes of the meeting to. Secondly, when you speak about follow-up email, if suppose let's speak about a college scenario this time. So a certain project is going on in your college, and then you have been working with a lecturer, or you have been working with a couple of professors on the same project, and you have your team of let's say 5 members or 6 members. So if you have to write a follow-up email and you found a particular journal where the information about the project that you are working on is present, and you want to copy the information that is there, or let's say you want to implement whatever is the information that is there in the particular journal. So what do? You write an email following up telling this is what has happened till now, and now this is going to happen. In order for us to take next step, we have understood that this particular journal has this information regarding the paper that we are trying to produce. So please do have a look. And then comes the call for action. So in this, when you are writing a follow-up email, if you are talking about, now this is about a college scenario, now let's speak about a corporate scenario. If you need financial report information that is there with someone else, where you have to produce an Excel where you have to combine a set of financial reports, and then you have to give them a certain analytical report about the information that you have already collected, or let's say if you have to write about the payment that is in the process. So suppose in the follow-up email, if suppose there is a payment process that is going on, there is an order that you have put with the client, and then the client has sent some information regarding the order that you have put, and then the rest of the information is still pending with the client. So you write a follow-up email telling dear or hello client. So we have ordered this particular product from you, but then only this information has been given to us regarding this, and the payment process has already been done, and the payment receipts are being attached to this particular email. On the as we've discussed earlier, please do make sure that the product reaches the company by certain time, because we are awaiting the product in order for our event to be happening successfully. And thank you for your support in being being cooperative client with us. So this is how, when you order something, that's how the follow-up email goes after the order has been placed, but it has not been reached to the company yet. And the third is request email. So here, let's say if you one of the people from your end want to review one of your resumes with us, then you would probably write an email telling, hello Dharni, this is what is happening, I'm sending you my I'm XYZ, and I would like my resume to be reviewed because my placements are going to happen in a particular month, and therefore I would like to be ready for that, and for that I would like my CV to be reviewed by your team. Can you please make sure that this resume is being reviewed by your team and get back to me by certain time. If this is how you request to someone, it would make sense to respond to your email. Now when we speak about the third, that is the structure of an email. How should you structure your email? So when you speak about structure of an email, so in the structure of an email, there are three things. We've already spoken about the greetings and salutation. So once you finish greetings and salutation, hope you're doing well, hope this email finds you well. This is how the greeting goes in the first section. And then comes the introduction. So I would say, if I were to write to a college, if you were to write to a college in US, let's say I am writing on your behalf, I would write, I am writing to you from India, my name is particular this thing, and I am writing to you regarding the course. I would like to know what is the tuition fee that is there in the particular course, or I would like to know the course details, what all subjects are you going to cover in the particular course, and how will my education be impacted after I have taken course with you, what are the placement opportunities that your college provides. So this is how the email goes when you are writing a structured email. First comes the introduction. Introduction is you telling, I'm so and so, and then the body goes on telling that you've written about the course. So I'm interested in a particular course, I would like to know more details about it, what are the options that I have after I finish the course with your university. So this is the body that you write, and the end is call to action. So call to action is when you expect the other person to do something regarding the request you have made, or probably asking them to respond. So it would be really appreciable if you could tell me, if you could mail me regarding the details of this particular request that I have made, or this particular inquiry I have made with your university. So this is how the structure of the email goes. What all are included in the structure? First is the salutation, then comes the greetings or the salutation, and then comes introduction, and the second part is body, and the last part is call to action. So this is how you structure an email. Now the last thing is we are going to speak about samples. So in the samples, I am going to cover two samples here. So we are going to look at an email where a particular person is writing a request email, that is a student writing a request email to a consultant or a consultancy, asking them to review their CV or the resume. And second, we are going to cover another email in a corporate scenario where in a working scenario where a particular client has been ordered something, or suppose there is a product that needs to be delivered to the company. So these are two scenarios we are going to cover in the sample email section. So when you are a college student and suppose you are writing for your resume to be reviewed, so the first of your salutation should be hello team, and then comes my name is XYZ and I am from first year or fourth year of the college and student at Bapatla Engineering College, for example Guntur, and then you have to make sure that there is a connection between you and the firm you are trying to write to, or the person you are trying to write to. How do you make sure that connection is there? Through the email you include in the introduction saying, in applying for XYZ, I am applying for XYZ company, I attended your YouTube session on particular date, or mention about the session that you have included, that session that you have attended with us. and then you mention about a particular thing about me or the team that you're working with. So then the introduction is complete once you've established the connection with the person that you're writing an email to, because I am not aware of you, or the team is not aware of you, or the consultant that you're writing to is not aware of you. Now the body comes. The body says, in applying, I am applying for a job. I have my interview coming up at XYZ for this month, for which I need to submit my resume by a particular date. I have created a basic version of my resume. I've showed my teachers about my resume and they've given me a feedback which I have incorporated into that. Now, can your team double check my resume? That would help, and that would also help me a lot during my application process. So this when you're writing this email, it shows that you've already put in an effort doing it. So now what you've done is you've given your introduction and also made a connection with the consultancy that you are supposedly working with, or a consultant that you want to work with. And therefore, because the other person you're writing to an email is not aware of you, this would give them an idea about who you are, and therefore they would be positive enough to respond to you through this email. Because if someone writes to me an email without telling me how they've known me, I would be less positive to respond than if someone has referred my YouTube channel or referred the session they've attended with us. Then my team would be more positive to be responding with the person who has included that in their introduction. In the body, when you're writing about the effort that you've already put, you've shown the teachers the resume that you've written, or if you've shown your lecturers and you've taken feedback already, which means that I get to see the effort that you're putting in the resume that you're writing, or in the effort that the work that you're doing, and therefore the person who is in front of you would be more positive to respond, because you're not asking me to be your consultant, you're asking me to double check the resume that you've already written, which means you're asking my help but not my services. Therefore, this is more positive way to ask someone without paying them to review your resume, and therefore this will help you further. Even if you're supposed to write an email to someone where you're asking a free service from them, this would help you in addressing an email in this way. Now the end would be, so the call of action would be, it would be helpful if you can arrange a 10-minute phone call with me, or if you say, if you could give a feedback on my resume. So now we are going to cover a second sample. So this sample is about an unresponsive client whom you have been trying to reach to, but who had been unresponsive to you. So how do you start an email with them? So dear XYZ, hope this email finds you well. Following upon our earlier phone conversation, as we have discussed, I have already placed the order and received the payment receipt which has been debited into your account. As per the request that is in process, I would like to know when I can have an update about the shipping details of the bed sheets. So here are the receipts, so include as attachment to the email, and also write about the points that you have discussed, telling 1400 bed sheets that you need to be receiving from them, 215 number of pillow covers that you need to be receiving from them. Then you write, since I need to give an update to my manager, I need to know this immediately, or I need to know this information. If it is more convenient for you, I can reach out to your manager directly. So now, as you see in both the emails, you made sure that there is salutation, there is introduction, there is body, and there is call to action. This is the way you structure your email, and when you write an email in a structured manner and it is an inductive way of writing, and therefore it would give you a very good response from the person who is receiving an email. So that is about today's session. If you have liked the session, if you have benefited from writing email, please do click the like button, subscribe, and also click on the link in the description in order to enroll yourself to the course that Nirman is currently running. Thank you.